Xylos the Infinite floated in the central atrium of Elysium Station, a being woven from starlight and cosmic dust. He had existed for centuries, a legend whispered across spiral arms. To the delegates gathered Balatrians with iridescent scales, stoic mechanoids of polished chrome, delicate florins from the Emerald Reach. He wasn't just an ambassador, he was a force of nature given form. His presence hummed with quiet power. When Xylos spoke, nebulae seemed to swirl in the depths of his translucent form. He had calmed supernova storms, brokered the Treaty of Cygnus that ended the 100-year Drift War, and guided fledgling civilizations through their technological adolescence. Knowledge flowed from him like light from a star. Today marked the opening of the Conclave of Concord, the grandest gathering of species in 3 generations. Representatives filled the tiered galleries of Elysium's Hall of Accord, their murmurs a symphony of alien tongues. All eyes tracked Xylos as he drifted toward the speaker's aperture. His purpose, to unify the fractious galactic assembly against a newly detected cosmic anomaly threatening the outer fringes. Observe the harmonics, breathed a Trillian scholar to her aid. Sensors focused on Xylos's energy signature, pure chronotin, resonance, ageless. Near a viewport displaying the swirling sapphire nebula, a human diplomat adjusted his formal uniform, awestruck. They say he remembers the birth of the Milky Way's second core. Xylos paused above the assembly. Silence fell, thick with anticipation. No holograms amplified him. No technology projected his voice. When he finally spoke, his words resonated directly within every mind present. Clear and profound as a planetary chime, we gather not as separate threads, but as the tapestry. A wave of palpable calm, of certainty, washed over the hall. Doubts eased, tensions softened. For a moment, ancient grudges and fresh suspicions dissolved in the warmth of his presence. This was Xylos's gift, perspective forged across eons. He embodied unity, wisdom, the vast, patient arc of cosmic history. He was more than a diplomat or a scientist. To the galaxy, Xylos, the Infinite, was living history made manifest, a beacon of stability in an ever-changing universe. His legend wasn't written, it was breathed by stars. And on Elysium Station, as the conclave began, that legend felt utterly unshakable. Commander Eris Thorn stood apart from the glittering crowds in the Elysium Station Grand Atrium, while delegates in shimmering silks and polished exosuits clustered near Xylos the Infinite. Thorn remained by a towering viewport. His gaze was fixed not on the living legend, but on the swirling blues and violets of the distant Krellis Nebula. Thorn wore the simple, functional gray fatigues of a United Terran Fleet officer, devoid of medals or rank insignia. The only mark he carried was a worn black band around his left wrist, a human symbol of profound mourning. He looked older than his Earth-standard years. Lines etched deep around eyes that held the weight of witnessed voids. Unlike the ambassadors debating galactic policy, Thorn had come for a single, personal purpose. Held securely in his calloused hand was a small, unassuming data crystal. Within it resided the recorded neural patterns, voice logs, and fragmented personality echoes of his best friend and former navigator, Eli Vance. Eli hadn't just died in the Krell-Xylos War. He'd vaporized his own crippled scout ship to detonate an unstable Krell energy mine, saving Thorn's command vessel and the 10,000 souls aboard. Eli received a posthumous Terran star, but Thorn sought something more. Eli's name inscribed on the Galactic Roll of Honor. It was a gesture, a way for Eli's distant family to know his sacrifice echoed beyond Earth. A Trellian delegate drifted nearby, her scales shimmering with curiosity. You observed the nebula with intensity. Human, she noted, her voice melodic. Is it of strategic significance? Thorn didn't turn. Personal significance, he replied, his voice gravelly but steady. His thumb brushed the activation node on the crystal. A faint, translucent hologram flickered to life beside him just for a moment. It showed a younger man with a lopsided grin and kind eyes, caught mid-laugh in a Terran mess hall. Eli Vance, vibrant and alive. The Trellian tilted her head. Sensors, worry softly. A memory preserve, fascinating. Your species bonds deeply with ephemeral echoes. Thorn deactivated the hologram. Eli's ghostly smile vanished. We remember, he said simply, the words heavy with unspoken grief. He pocketed the crystal, the black band stark against his wrist. Around him, the conclave buzzed with discussions of cosmic anomalies and diplomatic alliances. Thorn remained an island of quiet sorrow, a single human carrying a universe of loss into the heart of galactic power. His plea for recognition, a small fragile thing against the backdrop of eternity. Embodied by Commander Thorn stood sentinel by the viewport, the swirling Krellis Nebula his only companion. The distant blues and violets mirrored the storm within. He activated the data crystal again. Eli Vance's hologram, slightly clearer now, materialized. Beside him, Eli was recounting a ridiculous story about malfunctioning zero-G coffee makers back on Mars Station. His familiar laugh echoing softly in the otherwise quiet corridor alcove. Thorn managed a ghost of a smile, a rare crack in his stoic armor. It was a private ritual, drawing strength from the echo of his friend. The tranquility shattered. A subtle shift in the ambient light, a gentle hum vibrating the deck plating. Xylos the Infinite drifted into the corridor, surrounded by a reverent entourage, a sleek mechanoid embassy, two Florins whose petals shimmered with awe, and a Trellian scholar diligently recording the being's every fluctuation. Their hushed conversation ceased as they approached Thorn's isolated spot. Xylos paused, his luminous form casting shifting patterns on the bulkheads. His attention, vast and ancient, settled not on the nebula, but on Thorn, the hologram, and the palpable sorrow radiating from the human-like heat from a star. To Xylos, a consciousness woven from cosmic time, human lifespans were flickers. Their attachments, their grief, it was a curious, almost primitive behavior he observed from a detached, eon-spanning perspective. Curious, Xylos's voice resonated, not through air, but directly into the minds of those present. It wasn't loud, yet it filled the space completely. His light pulsed with serene alien amusement. The ephemeral clung so fiercely to their fragile echoes. Thorn slowly turned. His body, rigid, Eli's hologram flickered. The story cut short, mid-chuckle. Xylos's focus intensified on the shimmering image of Eli. This specter you commune with. Human this ... ghost. The word carried a weight of profound dismissal. It is less than cosmic dust, its brief existence, its sacrifice statistically insignificant against the grand tapestry. A mere footnote, erased by stellar winds. Thorn's knuckles turned bone-white where he gripped the data crystal. His face was a mask, but a single muscle twitched near his jaw. Xylos continued, his tone imbued with the certainty of stars. To burden your present with such a transient memory, ... it is inefficient, illogical, a pathetic weight you carry willingly. True greatness lies in release, in embracing the infinite flow, not anchoring oneself to spent sparks. Let the echo fade. Only entities of genuine consequence endure in the galactic memory. A ripple of agreement, nervous and subdued, passed through his entourage. The Trellian scholar looked distinctly uncomfortable. Silence descended, thick and suffocating. The nebula's light painted Thorn's face in cold hues. Eli's hologram vanished as Thorn's thumb slipped from the activation node. He didn't speak, didn't move, but in his eyes, fixed unblinkingly on Xylos's core, a cold fire ignited. The black band on his wrist felt like iron. The living legend had not just spoken, he had desecrated the one thing Thorn held sacred. The silence in the corridor alcove was absolute, thicker than nebular gas. Xylos the Infinite remained suspended, his luminous form radiating serene, unshakable certainty. His entourage shifted nervously. The Trellian scholar's sensor frills lay flat against her neck, a sign of profound distress. Commander Thorn hadn't moved a muscle. His gaze remained locked onto the pulsing core light within Xylos's being. The cold fire in his eyes burning brighter. Slowly, deliberately, Thorn raised the It wasn't pointed at Xylos. Instead, he pressed it firmly against the glossy surface of a nearby Publicum's console. The console, designed for station-wide announcements and data sharing, flickered to life under his touch. You speak of eternity, Thorn said, his voice low, rough, yet cutting through the silence like a vibrablade. It held none of Xylos's resonance, only the raw scrape of human emotion. You measure worth by the span of existence. By galactic recognition. He tapped a sequence on the console. A warning chime sounded, ignored. You called Eli Vance less than cosmic dust. His sacrifice insignificant. Light pulsed, a faint ripple of curiosity, annoyance. I speak observable truth, ephemeral. Release your burden. Truth. Thorn's knuckles were white on the crystal. Then no truth. Xylos, no Eli Vance. Not as a statistic, not as a footnote. His finger hovered over the final command key. No, the bond you mocked. No, the courage you scorned. No, the void he left. Thorn slammed his palm down on the console. Know him. The console emitted a sharp, high-pitched whine. Instead of broadcasting station-wide, Thorn had jury-rigged it into a focused, high-bandwidth neural burst emitter, aimed directly at Xylos. The data crystal didn't transmit files. It unleashed a raw, unfiltered torrent. Commander Eris, Thorn's complete, visceral memory of Eli Vance, that it wasn't just images or sound. It was the sensation of Eli's handshake, the warmth of shared laughter in a cramped ship's galley, the gut-wrenching terror of the Krell ambush in the nebula, the blinding flash of Eli's sacrifice, the crushing weight of grief that followed. Every cherished moment, every agonizing second of loss, the sheer, overwhelming love for a friend, poured directly into Xylos's ancient consciousness. Xylos the Infinite screamed. It was a sound unlike anything heard on Elysium Station, not through air, but a psychic shriek of pure alien agony that vibrated in the bones of every being. Nearby, his radiant form convulsed violently. Starlight patterns fractured and spun chaotically. His core light flared blindingly bright, then dimmed to a sickly flicker. He wasn't just hearing about grief. He was drowning in it, submerged in the raw, unfathomable ocean of a single human heart's breaking. A living legend recoiled. writhing in midair, utterly consumed by the echo he had deemed worthless. The weight of Eli Vance, amplified by Thorn's soul-deep sorrow, crashed over him and drowned him utterly. The psychic echo of Xylus's scream faded, leaving the corridor on Elysium Station vibrating with stunned silence. The living legend hung suspended, but the serene being of Starlight was gone. His form flickered erratically, like a failing hologram. Patterns of light within him swirled in chaotic, jagged loops instead of their usual cosmic harmony. His core pulsed weakly, a dull, bruised ochre. The mechanoid ambassador emitted a series of sharp, distressed clicks. The Florin's petals had closed tightly. Commander Thorn retrieved his data crystal from the comms console, its surface now cool. He didn't look at Xylos, he simply pocketed it, adjusted the black band on his wrist, and walked away. His steps, measured and heavy. His purpose felt grimly fulfilled, not with triumph, but a terrible, hollow ache. The unraveling began immediately. Hours later, at the first formal session of the Conclave of Concord, Xylos drifted to the speaker's aperture. Delegates leaned forward, expecting profound wisdom on the cosmic anomaly. Instead, Xylos's voice, once resonant and clear within their minds, was fractured, laced with static. He stared past the assembly, seemingly transfixed by the star map. Projection behind them. The void. It echoes with laughter. He stammered, his light pulsing rapidly. The coffee, the machine malfunctioned, such warmth, He trailed off, fixated on a minor star cluster within the projected Krellis Nebula. Panicked whispers rustled through the hall. His detachment, once his strength, became a crippling vulnerability. During a tense negotiation between the Trellians and mechanoids, a mechanoid delegate offered a gesture of conciliation, a subtle pulse of its core light towards its Trellian counterpart. Xylos recoiled violently, his form compressing. Too bright, the sacrifice flagship burns. He projected, his distress flooding the chamber, derailing the talks. Delegates exchanged bewildered, concerned glances. The cosmic anomaly he was meant to advise on. He dismissed it as less than cosmic dust, insignificant. Fade, double quotes, his own mocking words thrown back in a haunting echo. Xylos became a ghost, haunting Elysium. He drifted corridors, flinching from displays of affection, overwhelmed by the psychic residue of bonds he couldn't comprehend. He muttered fragments of Eli's jokes or Thorn's memories, mistaking delegates for long-dead Terran crewmates. His pronouncements, once shaping galaxies, became nonsensical, tinged with unexpected anguish and fractured perception. The galaxy watched, not with reverence, but with horrified fascination. News feeds across star systems showed the diminished entity Xylos, the infinite, broken by grief. Cosmic legend unravels after confrontation with human. The living legend was no longer a beacon. He was a cautionary tale unfolding in real time, poisoned by the depth of a single human's sorrow, a sorrow he had dismissed as pathetic. His fall wasn't from power, but from understanding, and the weight of that one. Forced memory was crushing the eons of wisdom beneath it. Xylos the Infinite could endure Elysium Station no longer. Every mind whispered fragments of Eli Vance's laugh. Every bond between beings screamed of the loss he had forced upon the ancient entity. The weight of a single human heart had become a crushing singularity within his consciousness. One cycle, amidst hushed speculation and somber news feeds, Xylos gathered his flickering remnants of will. With a final discordant pulse of light that sent nearby sensors haywire, he fled. Not in grandeur, but in desperate, psychic terror. He streaked away from the galactic hub, a comet of unraveled thought, seeking oblivion, that his fractured awareness had only one destination, the swirling blues and violets of the Krellis Nebula. It drew him like a wound. Here, Eli Vance had ceased to be. Here, the memory that poisoned Xylos had its origin point. He plunged into the nebular gases, the very particles seeming to resonate with the ghostly echo of Thorn's grief and Eli's sacrifice. Xylos sought silence, emptiness, a place devoid of connection where the relentless memory loop might finally cease. He found no peace. The nebula itself seemed saturated with the emotional resonance Thorn had imprinted upon him. Eli's lopsided grin shimmered in the gas clouds. Thorn's devastating sorrow vibrated in the stellar winds. Xylos writhed, his form a chaotic storm of light, trying to expel the impossible burden, to return to his detached eternity. But the memory was a root, deep and unshakable. He couldn't comprehend it. He could only be consumed by it. His struggles slowed. The frantic pulses of his core light grew weaker, the chaotic swirls within his form less violent. The cosmic dust and ionized gases began to adhere to his flickering energy field. Slowly, inevitably, his form ceased its motion. The light dimmed from agonized flares to a faint, constant glow. The nebular particles coalesced, hardening around the trapped energy like celestial amber. Within days, scouts located him. The Infinite was no more. In his place, suspended eternally within the nebula he once might have sculpted, stood a monument of solidified light and cosmic dust. It was vaguely humanoid, frozen in a posture of recoil and anguish, its featureless face tilted eternally towards the precise coordinates where Eli Vance's ship had detonated. It emitted only a low mournful hum, the last resonance of a consciousness shattered by forced empathy. The nebula was swiftly renamed Vance's Vigil. Back on Elysium, Commander Eris Thorne stood silently as Eli Vance's name was inscribed onto the Galactic Roll of Honor. The vote was unanimous, swift, and somber. Thorne touched the black band on his wrist, then nodded once. A private salute. He had no words for the delegates who now regarded humans with newfound, wary respect. The legend of Xylos endured, whispered across hyperlanes, but its meaning had irrevocably changed. He was no longer the wise architect of peace, but a stark warning etched in starlight. The living legend who dared mock a human's dead friend. His monument stood not as a tribute to greatness, but as a testament to the unbearable weight of a bond he'd foolishly called insignificant.